Hey guys, it's Michelle from Scrap Secrets again, and I am here to show you the two cards, the one card front that I made, and also we're going to work on putting a card together using the Concord and Ninth Turnabout stamp set called Thankful Leaves, and I'm going to show you how to set it up and how to get everything started and the colors that I picked and everything, and we'll walk you through the supplies. But first I want to show you the card front and the two cards that I made. So the first one that I did, it's just the card front right now. I'm waiting for the ink to dry on this, and then I'm going to do some distress inking over top of this. So I used Memento Tuxedo black ink and inked up the stamp. So this stamp is from Concord and Ninth. It's called the Grateful for You stamp set, and it was in one of the bundles that I bought a couple months ago, and I've never got a chance to use it. So I thought this Grateful for You would be a great sentiment to put on the front of a card for the veterans. So I went back and read the post, and it was either Thanksgiving or thank you cards. So you can do either or. So I'm kind of going to do a little bit of both. Right now I did two thank you cards, and obviously the Grateful for You could be like a Thanksgiving / thank you card. So, like I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the, right now, obviously, it's all just plain. I'm going to take some distress ink and go over top of it to kind of give it like a messy background look. I'm going to use, I'm thinking I'm going to use oranges and yellows. So I will post a picture of it up on my Instagram after I finish it, probably tomorrow, the next night, something like that, because I think after this card, I'm done for the night. The second card that I made is actually, so that was actually the last thing I made before I started this video. The second card that I made was another one that was on craft cardstock. I used my Cricut to cut out the American flag, and then I used these stars from the Simon Says Stamp exclusive Stamp-Timber stamp set from a couple years ago called Brave, and it was part of the OWH, which is Operation Right Home, which I don't believe exists anymore. Sandy Almach had done it. It was where you create cards for soldiers abroad. I think they disbanded the group. I don't believe they do it anymore. So, but I did have a little, I don't even know if I have it anymore. Yep. So Operation Right Home, I had a little stamp because I used to send cards in when I first started making them. So this is the adorable stamp set on here, and I just thought it was so cute. I was able to use the thank you for your service on the inside, and then on the other card, I'm going to show you, I used the United States stamp. So I did all the little stars in here, and I used the Distress Oxides in Faded Jeans and Barn Door. And then on the inside, I did red, white, and blue. I did like kind of almost an ombre kind of thing. Thank you for your service. I just thought that was really nice, patriotic colors. And then it's on just on regular craft cardstock. The first card that I did was the first time that I tried the 3 different colors of Distress Ink and Distress Oxide. I used 2 Distress Oxides. I don't have Picket Fence in Distress Oxide, so I had to use the regular Distress Ink. And let me show you what happened. So I think that I can just kind of rub off the top layer, but the white has been mixed with so many different colors. I probably need one for like just plain white stamping. But I put it on a blue card base, and I think this is the Blue Jay pack that I just got from Michael's. And I know my lighting is kind of bad down here. Sorry about that. It's much easier to see in person, but it says Land of the Free, Home of the Brave, and then it says thank you for your service. And I did, again, the red, white, and blue stamping. And then the other stars I stamped in red, white, and blue around the outside of it. So those are my 2 thank you cards. And then one thank you card front. So now I want to get started on showing you guys how I used my Turnabout stamp set, how I set it up, how you get ready to use it, and then from there we're going to create a card. So let me show you quickly the supplies we're going to use before we start. These are all MFT inks. This is Orange Fizz, this one is Cranberry Cocktail, this one is Gumdrop Green, and this last one is Daffodil. So we're going to start with the lighter colors first and then work our way into the darker colors so that it's easier to clean the stamp off. That's usually what I do, and it doesn't matter what order you stamp the stamps in, because you're going to get the same results no matter which way you stamp it. So I'm going to take you guys down to the desk and we're going to get started. So hopefully this doesn't make you dizzy. It's probably going to just take a little little second to line this up. So here are the stamp sets. We're going to put it over here. And then I'm going to show you over here what we do. So on the back of each of the Turnabout stamp sets, there is a jig on there. So what you do, this one is super easy because there's only a couple images on here. You line up the images and then you mark on the back of your stamp. Yes, you do have to write on the back of your stamp. It doesn't hurt it. It's fine. It doesn't do anything to the stamp. So once you line it up and then you take a ruler and draw the X on the back of that. Obviously I didn't line it up correctly this time, but I already did put the X on the back. Now what I like to do is I take the back of old paper pads. The 6x6 paper pads are perfect because they're square and it fits the 4 by 5 1/4 piece of white cardstock I have nicely on there, and then I line this up in the middle. The only other thing that I suggest doing is writing in each of the corners 1 through 4 so that you know that you're rotating the stamp in the proper, or your paper in the proper direction for each time that you stamp, because you want to make sure that you go whichever way you turn, you want to make sure you keep turning it that way so that you're not stamping over images that you already have done. So before I get started, I'm going to take a almost done Zig 2-way glue pen and I'm going to put dots on the back of this, and then I'm going to let that dry. So first let me show you the other pieces that we're going to do while we're waiting for that to dry. This is the rest of the stamp set. We're going to be using Thankful because I thought that was really nice. It's kind of a thanks/Thanksgiving card, so the Thankful would be nice to put on there. And instead of stamping it right onto the front with black ink, which is what I thought I was going to do, I took a piece of cardstock and I cut it down to 3 by 1 1/2. And then I cut a piece of black cardstock just to give it a little bit of dimension and to make it kind of stand out from the front of the card behind it. And it's 1/8 of an inch bigger than the yellow piece. And I think we're going to stamp that in the gumdrop green. We're going to see how that looks. I do have another piece over there just in case it doesn't look right. So now that this has turned, so if you have a Zig two-way glue pen, sorry, can't talk, and you have it where, what's this at? See how the tip is white, and then if you look at this one, this is a new one, this is blue. Once the ink on here turns white, it is repositionable. So what I like to do is stamp something, or ink something up, and then just kind of let it dry for a little bit so that it will become repositionable. So I'm going to do my best. Now you don't have to be exact on here. I do have a different background jig for each of the background or the Turnabout stamp sets that I do. You don't have to. I've seen people laminate theirs so that they only have one. I just like to have it because it gets a little messy and I don't have a laminator. So I like to have that in my stash. Oops. So what we're going to do is now we're going to take the stamp, and the piece of paper has the X on the back of it. Now we're going to line the X up. This one might be a little bit more difficult because it's hard to see. I guess that's... So actually what we probably should do is, before I put the paper on, put this back in and line this up with the X right here. Now, if it's a little off, it's not really going to matter that much. Okay, oops, have that stamp on the outside. All right, now what you want to do is press it down good. Make sure that the paper is in the corner here. Just make sure this isn't going to hit the stamp. All right, now we're going to put the paper back in there. Some of the Turnabout stamp sets are larger, and you can kind of get the feeling for where the X is with having the paper on there. This one is a thinner set, so it has less surface space, I guess I should say. So it was harder to do that with. So we're going to ink up the first one with Daffodil. And this is the first time I've used this ink and first time I've used this stamp, so probably going to need to do this more than once. I've never tried to do this without a MISTI stamping tool. I think it would be interesting to see how, I don't know how that would work. If you didn't, you might be able to use the jig, the stamp positioner, I don't know how that would work. So I think that came out actually pretty good. I think I'm gonna just quickly do one more press. And it came out a pretty yellow color. Really, really pretty. All right, so then I have this Norwex cloth, which I love. It takes the ink off so nicely. This one is pretty beat up. It definitely needs to be washed. I actually have glue on it from the cards that I was making, the Christmas cards that I was making, so it's probably not the best. Trying to find like clean, dry spots, but there's not that many. So I started with 3 down here, so now I want to go 2. I'm going to put my magnet back into place, and now we're going to do the orange color. So quickly inking this stuff back up. So all I did was turn my jig one time so that the number that I had in the corner before is now over at the other side. So then I'm going to want to do the same thing, apply pressure, and then it's going to fill up the background. So you can do this 1, 2, 3, or 4 times, depending on how many colors you want to use and how much you want to have on the background. So if you want to have a nice full background, you can stamp it 4 times. If you want to just have a little, maybe a little bit of space, like over here, there's a lot of white space. So what you can do is only stamp it twice and put the sentiment down there. That's fine too. It's kind of whatever you like. And you can do a probably like 5.5 by 5.5, maybe even almost a 6 by 6 sheet of paper, maybe 5 3/4, and do a really nice big background. So, all right, so then the orange layer is done. So I'm going to wipe this off pretty quickly. Definitely washing this this cloth. I'm going to need to get another one. So then we're going to take the number 1 that's up here and put that down in the corner, making sure that we're, again, rotating the paper in the same direction. We're going to take the green and now stamp down in the green. And we're just going to keep doing this until all 4 colors are done. Like I said, you don't have to do all 4 colors. Other people I've seen do emboss 1 layer. So they'll do a layer in Versamark, maybe 2 layers in Versamark, and do 2 different color inks or embossing powders, and that looks really cool. A nice embossed layer is always something that makes like one of the turns stand out from everything and look nice. Okay, so here's the green, and then we're going to rotate one more time, go back and wipe this. Okay, and then we're going to go and put the red layer on. So this is the first time I believe I'm using this red ink as well. It's pretty bright. So I'm going to go over. These are really, really nice fall colors. Okay, probably do one more time. I thought this red is kind of like, it's a darker red. It's not like a bright red. It is more like an autumn red, so it was a good pick. I was actually going to use like more of a Christmassy red, but I'm glad that I didn't. I'm glad that I picked this one. So let me just show you the background real quick. Once you pull this background off, you'll be able to see what your background looks. So that's the background. So how cool is that? That would be so hard to do if you, you know, I mean, with this, there's like open ones and solid ones, so it might be a little bit easier. But to get it in a nice, even pattern, it looks like a piece of background paper or a piece of scrapbook paper that has the background printed on it for you. So I think that that looks super nice. So the next thing that and I always keep these. I have a pile of them, so I just use these. Like I would always use this one for the Leaf Turnabout stamp set. So I will put that down with my other ones, which I store in the side of my desk. And then I'm going to put the Thankful stamp in my Misty, upside down. And I'm going to choose a color. I think, take this off. I think I'm going to choose green. Not really sure why. I just feel like that would look nice. I just hope it doesn't turn blue. Wondering, I guess we'll find out. Or should we use the red? Well, let's try the green first because I can always take the other side or use a different piece of cardstock if this does happen to turn it blue. I don't think it should. I just don't want it to look blue because we didn't use any blue. I mean, you can tell it's green, but I don't think I love the crispness of it. I don't think I love the color combination. I think that maybe the red, yeah, I feel like it looks a little, what do you guys think? Looks like a little blue. So I'm going to wipe this off, and then we're going to try on the other side with the red. And this is always the fun part of the process, is trying to figure out, you know, when you don't pre-plan and you kind of just are flying blind, what colors go well. Like, I was thinking about it while I was stamping stuff out, and just the last second I decided green. I'm not sure why, but oh yeah, I definitely think I like this red better. Let me stamp it one more time. With stamps that haven't been seasoned or haven't really been used that much, it's great to use a MISTI tool because you can stamp over things. It just makes it easier, and sometimes you get a nice crisp image. That Grateful for You image that I stamped earlier, I believe I stamped it 3 or 4 different times before I got a look that I was happy with. So we're going to put the MISTI to the side, and then I'm going to take, so let me see. So there's the green Thankful. There's the red Thankful. I think I like the red side better, so I'm going to take my larger Zig 2-way glue pen. So if you guys haven't seen, there's like 3 different, at least the ones I've seen, there's 3 different sizes of Zig 2-way glue pens. There's the one that I showed you earlier, there's this one, and then there's one that is like a ballpoint pen that's very, very tiny, so oops, so that you can use it on very intricate die cuts. So this. And then I think we're just going to put it across like that. It's not exactly the same color yellow, but that's okay. If I probably had a little bit more time and I had a little bit more supplies out, I probably would have picked a lighter yellow, but I actually kind of like this. So we're just going to go with it. And eventually I will find a card base to put this on, but for right now, that is the card front that we've created. So I have 2 finished cards. I also have I have 2 card fronts, one done and one that needs to be done. So I've created tonight in probably a little less than 2 hours, 2 full cards, 1 card front, and 1 that I'm going to finish tomorrow. So just to give you guys an idea of some of the things that you can make, I just wanted to show you, hop on real quick and show you guys what I made, and also while showing you, my hands are so dirty from all the ink, sorry, but I also wanted to show you guys how to use a Turnabout stamp set. I know I've shown it in a couple different videos, but if you're newer to my channel and you don't know what the Turnabout stamp set is, Concord and Ninth has a ton of them. They're fantastic. No, I don't work for Concord and Ninth. I just happen to love their products. They're super, super innovative, and Turnabout stamp sets are one of my absolute favorite things from that company, and I pretty much have at least one each month in their release, and I tend to buy almost their whole entire release because it's usually like 99% of the stuff I know that I will use a ton. So thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully this inspires you guys to go out and make some Thankful for You, Thanksgiving, thank you cards for some veterans or for somebody else. Doesn't even have to be for, maybe it's just somebody in your life, but just give a little bit back, do a little bit good, and hopefully you guys take this challenge from my last video. Appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys again real soon for another crafty video. Bye!